I mean, okay, sure. Hang on. Fellas, Filettis, it's good to see you. Welcome to Gavin. What's up, fellas? Good to see you. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Gavin Games for the 8th of December. The Christmas season is in full swing. I don't know what that means as a atheist agnostic, but I've always loved Christmas. I'm excited. I'm excited for the decorations and the music, and maybe this is the year that I don't know. It's the rapture. Something seems to. Hello, welcome to the show. It is nice to see everybody. We are going to be talking today all about video games. This is a no politics zone. But tomorrow morning, we do have a Jaffe stream, which is we'll talk about whatever. But I also think that's probably a no politics zone because there's a lot going on with drones and a lot of other weird shit to talk about. So that'll be happening on tomorrow's show. And then in the afternoon, we'll be back to games only with Gavin and Games. How's the levels? Can you guys hear me okay? Somebody's asking for more levels. Excited for Christmas food myself. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me bring that up a little bit. Have I tried Marvel Rivals yet? I have. I played it in the beta, and I played a little bit of it last night. But honestly, most of my time this weekend since Friday has been Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I am loving that game. I put up a impressions video earlier today. I'm not the right guy to come to for a review of the game because I am super fucking biased because I've loved indie since I was a kid. And what I will tell you, though, is it is delightful. It is excellent. It is super immersive. It feels like you are Indiana Jones. Troy Baker does a phenomenal job in this game. It's not just that he's mimicking Harrison Ford's voice. That's terrible. That wasn't good. But, you can do some of it. That's terrible, Jaffe. Shut the fuck up. The point is, it's not just that he does a good impression. It's that he's got the little mannerisms and the nuances. And everybody working on this game, or at least making these calls about the character and the narrative, they seem to really, really get the Indiana Jones character. And to the point that I saw an interview after I started playing, and I haven't seen a lot of people saying this, except, over the years, real aficionados of the franchise can identify how Indian Temple of Doom and Indian Raiders feel very much like a very different character than the Indiana Jones you get in Last Crusade, and certainly the later films. This game, which takes place right after Raiders, feels like classic early 80s Indiana Jones. It is just excellent to the point that you guys know I love streaming. I love making content. Today was the first time I've been playing a video game in since I've started doing this probably, where I knew I wanted to stream this afternoon, but I felt like it felt like I was a kid on a Sunday going, I just want to play some more. I don't want to get ready for school tomorrow. I don't want to go to bed. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. I love that. Like I'm doing a couple of side missions and stuff. There's lots of side missions. The main adventure is about 12 to 20 hours, give or take, depending. Mostly I'm focusing on that, but I love that there's a lot of really fun side quests to do after the main adventure. So I'm super in, man. I'm loving it. Brad Glasgow says, have you seen the last indie movie? I haven't seen it. Yeah, I thought it was terrible. I absolutely hated it. It was so not Indiana Jones. I mean, I love the director, James Mangold. I don't think I've ever seen a bad movie of his except this one. The opening of the last indie movie, which was set at Raiders time, was great. But once suddenly we're dealing with old man Harrison Ford and he's 80 years old and he's, basically that's what it's about. I'm like, who the fuck wants to see this fucking movie about an action hero that you loved and now he's just some old fuddy-duddy fuckwad that is, prepping for the end? I'm like, what is this movie? Why did they make this movie? So the thing that I really love is that, this particular game, I hope, and everybody, I haven't seen a lot of reviews yet other than the Metacritic, but like people playing it, like it's available right now if you have Game Pass and you don't have the early access. I think it just went live for those people. So I don't know what the response is going to be from people who did not grow up loving indie, but I really, really, really hope that it does well enough that not only do we get more sequels, but the powers that be at Lucas or Disney or whatever recognize that, you know what, people will engage with a new actor playing Indiana Jones. This horseshit logic of like, it's got to be Harrison Ford, that needs to be fucking thrown out with the trash. I've been saying that. People have been saying that for years, just like James Bond. Don't fucking, or Batman, or Spider-Man, or how many fucking actors have played Spider-Man? It's like, you're really going to not allow a character to continue that people love because Harrison Ford wants to be it? I mean, fuck that shit. But anyway, we'll see how it does. I don't know how it's going to do. You know, it's clearly it's a great time for Game Pass. I have no idea what their subscriptions are. I don't know if all that's going to be really interesting to watch over the next couple of months, this month starting, to see how their subscriptions jumped with Call of Duty, and if Indy or Stalker or Flight Sim or maybe even perhaps Avowed keeps people on the hook and excited. And there's also a brand new game coming out in January from, I guess, some of the old school guys, and we'll show a trailer later in the show today, that did Dragon Age, like the original ones that a lot of the hardcore fans say they love. They've teamed up with some people at Square, and that'll be a Game Pass day one in January. So it should be interesting. By all accounts, says Jojo D, the Great Circle should have failed. Jaffe himself stated he couldn't see non-fans loving it, but early numbers are stating everyone's enjoying it. Yeah, I mean, well, what I said was that if the game comes out and it stands on its own without you caring about Indiana Jones, it's going to be great. But if it comes out and the only people who love it are people who love the brand like me, then they're fucked, right? So we'll see. We'll have to see. I don't think any kind of play numbers have come out yet, but the reviews are great. It's sitting at 87 on Metacritic. Some people are impossible if you rush. Wait, some passages are impossible if you rush down. You literally have to do them on stealth mode. Oh, talking about Indiana Jones. Yeah, there's stealth in the game. You absolutely have to play it. It's not a shoot 'em up, bang, bang Wolfenstein game at all. There are moments of great action, like where you do get a machine gun or a sniper rifle and it's really frantic, but it is absolutely not the kind of game where you can shoot or use the whip or sneak. It's definitely a sneaking game. And I like it because I don't like sneaking games, and I'm loving this. Snail X says South of Midnight is also rumored for March. Right. Absolutely. Oh my God, John Gray. Sean Patrick Flannery was great as young Indiana Jones. Do you know my ex-wife went on a date with Sean Patrick Flannery before he was famous? He lived in this is such a weird story. So, he lived in the apartment complex that my ex-mother-in-law kind of was the manager for, the landlord for. I guess they owned the property. And my wife at the time was 16, 17, but the mom didn't care, my mother-in-law. She wanted to hook her up with people. So she hooked her up with Flannery, who must have been about 26, like P. Turtle on a date. And, they were on a date. And I said, how was it? She said, it was okay. It was okay. Yeah, the Brad Glasgow, the jazz episode of Young Indiana Jones was great. That's the one, if you don't know, where they brought Harrison Ford back to play old Indiana Jones, and old meaning he was like 45. And it was cool to see him as Indy. That was awesome. Oh, yeah, Gears of War is coming next year, Snail. And then obviously Doom is probably coming next year. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting. Okay. The dog, he has a no. Dogs are weird. They just know. It's like he hadn't been barking all day. And now here we go. Did I get any sense of wokeness playing Indy? I really haven't yet. I mean, you're beating the shit out of Nazis and fascists, but short of that, I don't really know. There's one line in the game, which I don't have any data to back this up, where but it feels like it was the team pushing back on some of these Gamergate 2.0 guys, where the main bad guy gets in a car and he's just really kind of dressed down this Nazi commander who's been kind of overseeing his archaeological dig site while he was gone. And he basically gets in the car after that guy just gets, runs off with his tail tucked between his legs. And he has some line. I tweeted it last night, like, there's nothing more easily manipulated than a insecure male, is something like that. And I'm like, okay, that seems like that's a little dig in there. But short of that, no. I think one of the characters is like a lesbian or something, like, that you get a sense that the main female hero has a sister who's dating this other woman, but short of that, no, I have no idea what people are talking about when they say it's a woke game. Whatever. Okay. Yes, fingers crossed we still get AC Shadows in February, John Gray. Well, we're going to talk about the possible acquisition of Ubisoft with Tencent today. But yeah, I mean, I was very happy when we as a group the other day, we looked at the AC Shadows deep dive into the ninja character, and it looked awesome. It was absolutely fantastic. Okay. All right. Brett Moore says, yeah, like Ace always barks when I'm streaming. He says, my cat only wants to sleep on my chest when I'm gaming. She knows and doesn't like me gaming. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he wants. Fucking dog. Okay. All right. Am I taking calls today? Maybe. Depends. I mean, I got somebody waiting right now. I'll bring him in. But we're definitely not doing politics today. That's on the Jaffe stream. But if it's gaming related and it's interesting, I'll put you on the show. We got Maddie. Let's bring in Maddie, and then we'll get to the first news story of the day. Matt, it's Jaffe. What's going on, bud? Mateus, what's going on, baby? Matthew. Matt. Okay, well, you're on the show. Talk when you want to, bud. But anyway, yeah, there's Indiana Jones. It's now available for everybody except, obviously, Switch players, and it'll be on PlayStation. I guess they haven't come out and said when that's coming out, but I think it's spring. I get the sense it's February, but I don't know why. Matt, what's up? Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, man. So I'm calling about this kind of, you pay for the extended edition or the top edition. You get the game 3 days early.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? Because I really do like supporting games, like, with my money, with my wallet. When a Naughty Dog or a Sucker Punch game comes out, I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy that full price, whatever. But I don't know how I really feel about the 3 day early access thing, but
why?
I don't know.
What's wrong? What don't you like about it?
I don't think, I don't know. I don't like the precedent it's setting, but
what is what is the precedent it's setting? I mean, what's the problem with it is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, pay me $30 extra. I mean, I guess that now that you're saying it back to me, okay, pay me $30 extra. You get to play the game 3 days early. I mean, okay, yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, I mean, the right. I mean, I like it obviously because it allows me to make my stream a little teeny tiny more valuable because I can play things earlier and talk about them and show people and stuff. But fundamentally, I mean, it's anytime any of these companies can find a way to not hurt the game itself, but add another drop of the waterfall where they can monetize, I don't really have a problem with it. I won't do it on every game, but I think more and more people are, they wouldn't do it if it wasn't working. And it's a little bit of extra money from the super fans. Why not make it? So it does suck if you're like, yeah, I want to play that, but I don't want to wait, but fucking, I'm not going to spend $30. I get that. But for Indiana Jones, there was no way I was going to wait. I thought I was because I was going to finish Dragon Age, but then I saw the reviews. I'm like, fuck it, I can't wait. So, I paid $30 extra on top of my Game Pass, quote, free version of it, and I've been loving it. And it comes with a DLC when that comes out as well. So I got no issues with it, but I get it's frustrating, but you got it now. It's available now. Are you thinking of playing it?
I'm going to play it. I'm probably going to play it when it comes to PlayStation. But,
okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that. I think that's great. I mean, I was tweeting with one of the executives at Lucas on this today, and I was just like, and he's not going to tell me anything about it. But basically, he's a big indie fan. And I said, man, I hope this does well for you guys because I'd love to get more. I would love to get like 5 Indiana Jones fucking games, just new stories for the next, 20 years. It'd be great. But
I think Machine Games is very capable. I mean, they really kind of switched things up with this game, and I think they're very capable of doing a trilogy or however.
Sure. If they want to, and if it does well. I mean, the one thing I'll say about all the new Game Pass games except Call of Duty for this Christmas is each of them, this, Stalker and Flight Sim, they really ask you to be a gamer. And I don't mean that like a hardcore gamer, but they're not the Sony cinematic, let us take you by the hand and show you this amazing adventure that almost anybody can play. You put somebody in Indiana Jones or Stalker and they don't really play games, they're going to be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in this game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some games, just kind of let you do your thing, and the other games will actually stop you still and say, okay, if you do not perform this action, we're not moving the camera, or the game is not moving forward until you do
Yeah.
this.
I mean,
It's like a type of
they're not,
tutorial.
it's not as bad as Stalker in
And
that sense, but it is definitely like, hey, you're indie go. It doesn't really sit there and say, we're going to, I mean, there are real honest to goodness puzzles in this fucking game. Which is awesome. Like, it feels like, I heard somebody describe it this way, that it feels like when it comes to the puzzles, it's like the old LucasArts video game puzzles, like, that Tim Schafer did, or they did in Indiana Jones, The Fate of Atlantis, but they're brought to life in 3D. It's not just like, oh, pull a lever and step on a pressure plate. There's actually some thinking you have to do, which is really quite neat for a game of this size.
I personally love puzzles in video games, but
Yeah.
you hear people. I mean, I love Colin Moriarty,
Mhm.
but you hear when he talks about when he plays games, if there's a puzzle, he just straight up looks it up. And I don't know why. I know Colin's a very smart guy.
Yeah.
I don't know why he feels like he can't do it.
I don't think he feels like he can. It's probably like that's not what he's looking for. He's not looking for that part of his brain maybe to get activated when he's playing a video game. And so when but these puzzles, because the game is well paced, it's not like, the game comes to a dead halt. The game is already, it's not meandering, but it's a bit more of a slower paced kind of experiential thing. So when the puzzles come up in indie, it feels very organic. Unlike, say, if you're playing a game, like a Wolfenstein 3D game, and you're shoot, and then suddenly you have a puzzle. You're like, what the fuck is this doing in my Wolfenstein? It actually fits.
The way me blasting Nazis.
Yeah, it totally fits in indie. All right, Matt, good to talk to you as always, buddy. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Thank you.
see you, dude. Jaffe, have you played Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay? No, I know it's the same developer. I just wasn't into it at the time, and I didn't like Vin Diesel, but I heard it was pretty good. Stoner Joe, though you're being sarcastic, Stoner Joe says, take pictures, great puzzle. You can set that, right? So what he's talking about is Indy has a camera. And if you're playing on normal puzzle mode, which I am, if the only time you use the camera to capture images of relics that you don't collect, it give you adventure points. And the adventure points you can then use to buff up Indy. His punches get stronger. He regens health at certain times faster. He climbs on the whip faster when he swings, whatever. The other time is when there's Latin or something, and obviously most of us don't speak Latin. And so he'll take it, and if you take a picture, it translates the Latin. But what Joe is talking about is if you go into the settings and say, I want the tutorial puzzle setting set, aiming the camera at something, Indy will start giving you hints. But I don't have that. I don't have that turned on. I'm not interested in that. Okay. Isn't Jaffe, says Shasele, someone who gets frustrated Astrobot doesn't do hand-holding, but likes non-hand-holding? No, I don't get frustrated. I don't need my hand held in Astrobot. I just didn't like that Astrobot doesn't present as an adventure game with puzzles. Astrobot presents as a pick up and play, family friendly, this is the way kind of thing. And so then when it throws something at you, like the difficulty levels, like the X circle, the button levels that are meant to be challenges, and they don't tell you that, and they also hide behind completing those, the Astrobots, but the game doesn't communicate that you don't need to get all the Astrobots to finish the game. Even if you don't want 100% it, you're left going, wait, I don't understand. What is this game? What am I supposed to do? Do I have to sit here and bang my head against the wall until I get past one of these challenge levels? So it's not that I do or don't need my handheld. I just need clarity. It's what I complain about in most games today, is the onboarding. Do I like this better than the point and click indie games, says K-Nubs? I do. I easily, absolutely 100% do. I like those games for their time. And there's a new point and click game out called Locomotive, which is very, if Tim Schafer were making those kind of games today, and it's really good. But pacing wise, I need a little bit more, sense of agency in the games in those. You don't like Astrobot because it's PlayStation, says Jay. Jay, I'll pay you $100 right now on PayPal if you can explain, if you can show me proof, which you won't be able to, and you might show me stupid proof, but there's nothing. I have no hate for PlayStation. It's just a dumb statement based on knee-jerk reactions of fanboys. The fact is, I'm not 12, which allows me to have a perception of the world and media and entertainment and art, of which video games are, that is more shades of gray. So I don't have to basically pull my cock out every 5 minutes and splooge all over my console and then take a picture and tweet it to dedicate my love to the fanboys that I somehow need the approval from, to say, oh, you're one of us. I know that that's you, Jay, and I appreciate that. Little kids do that. Not little kids, but, stunted adults or like teenagers do that. But for me, I'm able to look at Sony and I'm able to say I love Returnal, I love Ghost of Tsushima, I love Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, I love God of War 2018, but I also feel they're the least interesting developer or the least interesting console maker in terms of their ecosystem, and they're the most stuck in the past of any of the competitors that they're dealing with. Both of those things could be true and are true in my brain. But I do appreciate that you are a very simple human, because we need people like that. Like they say in Caddyshack, the world needs ditch diggers too. Not that digging a ditch makes you simple, but if you're really smart, you can dig a ditch or you can do something, more intellectually. It's really up to you. In your case, Jay, it's all manual labor all the way down, and nothing's wrong with manual labor, but just, don't show up and act like you can match wits, because come on now. Come on, Jay. Let's figure out our lane and stick to it. That's where happiness comes from. All right. Let's move forward. People are like, why don't you like Jay? I do like Jay. I got no issues with Jay. But, fucking come at me, moron. I'd argue that Nintendo is more stuck in the past, says Bookster. I would agree with you if you're talking about intellectual property, but game design, I don't think so. And even hardware, I don't think so. I think the Switch and even the Wii U, which I get, and then the Wii, all of those were more groundbreaking than anything Sony's done. Although, to be fair, Sony, at least, now I don't know who was working on the Wii stuff first. The first time I ever saw motion control in video game actually came from Enix in Japan. And then after that, Richard Marks from Sony was on stage before the Wii was announced, showing off what would become the Move controller. And then the Wii comes out and everybody attributes that innovation to Nintendo. So who the fuck knows when it comes to that? Yeah, I'm not knocking ditch diggers. Are you kidding me? I'm not knocking ditch diggers. I'm knocking Jay. All right, listen to this. I've been looking for this information. I can't find it. What sold well on Good Friday? Does anybody have this? The only thing I can kind of find, and it's not really, AI does, it'll go out and get like 50 fucking things and it'll think it's answering it for you. So it's assuming that the best-selling games were the deepest discounted. So it's saying Marvel Spidey 2, Star Wars Outlaws, Hogwarts, Elden Ring, Madden NFL, RE4, ReFantazio, Helldivers 2, Dragon's Dogma 2. And it's assuming that because the shift in budget or shift in cost from where it was to where it was on Black Friday into Cyber Monday. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. I was hoping to actually get some sort of actual data, like here are the top selling games of Black Friday or of the week, but I haven't been able to find them. Shut up, Jay. Jay says, I have no issue with it, but you don't need to talk shit. Sure I do. You started talking shit, and now that I punched back, you don't like it. I don't blame you. All right. I can tell you this, though. I can tell you the top 10 games right now in America on PlayStation. Roblox, number 10. Number 9, GTA 5. Number 8, College Football 25. Number 7, Madden. Number 6, nice to see Path of Exile 2 is up there, the early access. I didn't even know Sony was partnering with early access that often, but that's good to see. Early access Path of Exile 2 is number 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 5 is soccer. I'm going to keep calling it soccer because I know it's piss people off. Look at this. Marvel Rivals just launched. Shoots to the very top 5. Number 4, Marvel Rivals on PlayStation. NBA 2K25, Call of Duty Season 1, Black Ops, and then obviously number 1 is the Mighty Mighty Fortnite. Did you see that Fortnite is launching a 5v5 first-person tactical mode in hopes of going up against Valorant. I think, and Counter-Strike. I don't know how deep it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's just like, look, we put the camera in, we made some adjustments, it's 5v5, it's a new rule set, but it's still pretty much Fortnite, or are they actually doing all kinds of differences to, they're adding bullet drop and they're adding, more of a nuance to throwing grenades and things. I have no clue. But I'm very, very excited. And this comes out this week. We'll have early access of it this week. I think it's the 11th. So I will at least give it a play and tell you what I think. Hopefully you will do the same. Let's go back to Jay. He says, I stated a fact. No, you didn't. Shut up. No, you didn't. You came in here because what you wanted to do was perpetuate a myth about me that is not accurate, which is I don't like PlayStation. And that is not true. I'm sorry, but what that means, if everything I can say over and over and over does not convince you, if everything I can do over and over doesn't convince you, I'm sorry, Jay. But at that point, you're either a moron or you're just not interested in actually getting the real story. And in that, yeah, that opens up my freedom to talk shit about you because it's annoying as fuck because you have no room for nuance. Maybe you just shouldn't be in this chat. Right? Because speak to me like a fucking educated human, not even like college educated, high school educated, just somebody that understands that there's a little nuance in the world and people are not cartoon characters. I am not a cartoon character, Josephine. And in that, no, I will continue to treat you that way unless you want to change your tactics. Okay. Yeah. Listen, Awesome says I picked up Path of Exile on Steam today, but I want to finish Indie first. Yeah. I'm struggling on that one, man. I'm struggling on that one. Because I want to play it. I hear it's good, but I also have barely scratched the surface of No Rest for the Wicked, which is very similar. And I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm going to have the time. So I might actually try to hold off on that unless the hype just gets too great. And who knows, at Keeley's show, which will be streaming live on this very channel this week, there probably are going to be one or two things they surprise drop that week. Last year it was God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. They announced it and a week later it was out. So who knows? Okay. Jaffe, do you think it's a fair statement to state you think all attention is good attention? No, I don't. I would prefer nothing but good attention to come my way. But, look, I'm a man of my time. I'm a man of my experience. I don't really have it in me to not push back on people who aren't willing to have real conversations. So the fact that anybody who watches my channel regularly enough to feel comfortable saying something like Jay did, and actually thinks that you can call me on someone who hates PlayStation, that always bangs and beats up on PlayStation. What a ridiculous concept. To me, Jay, what it suggests to me is someone who isn't capable of nuanced thought, because you seem to think that, maybe you just don't watch my content and you feel you know enough of it. I don't understand. Because I'm raving about a lot of PlayStation games. But yeah, right now I do feel that PlayStation is in a rut. I absolutely do. So what? I'm thrilled you love it. But I think this has been the most uninteresting generation of PlayStation ever. It's just not really interesting. Do we have any mods? RPG, can we ban you goddamn clown, please? That would be great. I would appreciate it. If not, I'll do it if you're busy. Thanks, buddy. Just bought Tomba Special Edition, Stoner Joe. Excellent. Thank you for the super chat. That's a game. I've tried to play it on stream. I could never fucking do it. I could never fucking play that fucking game. Hello, Real Boss Moss, but I'm glad you got it. Let us know how it is, what comes with it. Listen to this. I want to ask you this. So the rumors continue to heat up. That say that Ubisoft is in serious talks and the board is listing and stockholders are looking at the deal to sell to Tencent. There's a lot of rumors that suggest that the Guillemot family still wants control, which seems ridiculous to me. Why would somebody buy your company because it's not doing well and continue to let you run the company the way you want? But whatever, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. But there is an article in Epic Stream that poses a pretty good question. And I like Ubisoft, and Star Wars Outlaws is one of my favorite games this year. But it is a really good question, which is, I mean, again, I don't know if the price has been floated, what they're going to charge for it, but you're either buying a company because you want the talent acquisition and or IP acquisition. And when you really look at the IP that this company has, it's not very strong. Yes, I understand Assassin's Creed Valhalla was a huge seller. Assassin's Creed does well. Rainbow Six does well. But there are so many other games that do that as well. And there are so many other teams that know how to make these kinds of games. And if you look at the consistent failure these guys have had, I think they just are with Defiant, X-Defiant, they're on their third failure of an attempt at a service-based game, free-to-play service-based game. And so I'm very curious what the cost is going to be for this. I don't think they're going to be anywhere close to like an Activision Blizzard. I don't think they're even going to be close to like a ZeniMax with, or even a Bungie. I think maybe if you say, okay, we'll buy it for $1 billion, maybe. But see, I don't agree. Real Boss Moss, you're talking about maybe your personal take on things. Fuck you, Bukaki. You're saying Prince of Persia and Splinter Cell alone are worth it along with Far Cry. Maybe for you, and I agree. I absolutely love Prince of Persia as a brand. But, Prince of Persia doesn't really sell that well. The last Prince of Persia, even though I know it was 2.5D, that played a big role. But it's not like people are lining up clamoring for Prince of Persia. It's a dead franchise. Far Cry, there's no character tied to it. All these characters change, the timelines change. And yes, that's interesting, but it came at the cost of going, we haven't built a character that's beloved. We haven't built a franchise that you can really turn into a narrative and make into movies and comics or anything like that. I mean, you could argue their most famous brand is Rayman. I mean, not brand, but their most famous IP character is Rayman, which is nothing. So, Jaffe's a little giggle before the fuck you, Bukaki. Fuck you, Bukaki. There you go. There's no giggle there. I don't agree with that, Matthew. Matthew says Ubisoft hasn't made a good game since Rayman Legends. It's subjective, of course, but I don't agree. I think a lot of people would argue the Rainbow Six games are great. The last two Far Cries I thought were good. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, while too long, was way too long for me, still had a lot of good moments in it. Prince of Persia, the new Prince of Persia, people say is fantastic. I only played the demo and I liked it, but I just kind of got busy. So I don't know if I would agree that that these guys don't know how to make good games. I just think that if you're buying them for their IP, it's probably not a smart move, is what I would say. Okay, Jay, I don't really care. And I'm going to have you banned only because I don't have the self-discipline to not look at your comments. So you can either just kind of contribute to the conversation or not. I did need to be an asshole because you were being an asshole. And that's the last I'll say about it. And if you continue, not that you don't have, I support your freedom to say whatever you want, but what I'm telling you is it is a weakness of me as someone who does a stream that I don't have the capability to not look and respond. And I know my audience gets tired of me doing that. So I'm going to make a request of the mods, be it Bukaki, RPG, myself, if I can get to it. Maybe I'll make a new mod that if, you can say that, and I got it, I acknowledged it. We don't agree with that. Maybe we'll become pals in some other way. But in that way, Jay, we don't agree. And that's fine. And you're welcome to be here. Maybe you have other things to contribute, but this conversation needs to be closed because I don't have the ability, like a goddamn grown-up, to say, don't take Jay's bait, right? It's a me problem, but I don't want the audience who doesn't want to hear it, which is the most of them, to suffer for it. So thank you. Stella. Now, I don't know this woman that well. I've probably watched 2 videos on her, but apparently people know her a lot. She was an IGN host. She put out this video. All I know is she's leaving IGN. I have no idea why, and this is only a 2-minute video, so let's see. It may not be juicy at all. It may be like the Alana Pierce thing where it's sort of like she left because, she had to get back to her family. She left Santa Monica. Or maybe it could be really fucking juicy. I have no clue, but it's only less than 2 minutes. You're not going to, it's not going to kill you to watch the goddamn thing. So here we go. Is it too low?
I've been more online and streaming this week during the daytime. Unfortunately, after almost 5 years at IGN, we've parted ways. I wish I could say it was amicable like every other breakup post you see in the industry, but unfortunately,
It is juicy. It is juicy. Whoever says that, it wasn't amicable. Sweet. Let's keep going.
that was not the case. The company terminated my position over a sponsorship deal I had taken for my personal brand and channels. The deal was with a mobile company that had previously been approved. Now the company takes issue with it. I am extremely grateful for my union, who has been supporting me actively this week and doing everything they can to get clarifications on current policies and working on getting fair treatment for me and more.
Turn it up even more? I just turned the goddamn thing all the way up. Let me turn it up more. Hang on. Let me open the volume mixer. My bad. Okay, it's turned up as loud as I can go. A lot of it might be her audio, but here we go. I'll roll back just a little bit.
I wish I could say it was amicable like every other breakup post you see in the industry, but unfortunately, that was not the case. The company terminated my position over a sponsorship deal I had taken for my personal brand and channels. The deal was with a mobile company that had previously been approved. Now the company takes issue with it. I am extremely grateful for my union, who has been supporting me actively this week and doing everything they can to get clarifications on current policies and working on getting fair treatment for me and, more importantly, others going forward. Currently, the union is working to negotiate the termination since the unit council and guild reps feel my termination was an overreaction to something that could have been easily resolved. Now, I wish I could say more, but I can't say more on this currently since this is an ongoing situation, but I wanted to make this announcement since this happened this Monday at around 4 p.m. after the holiday weekend, and it's been weighing on me. I've had some time to process my feelings, and I won't lie that it's still, I still feel pretty gutted and upset. Sorry, my words. With that being said, for the time being, I am open for work. Just a reminder that I'm still a kick-ass host who can do award presentations, esports hosting and commentating, informative dev or player interviews, game reviews, and game consultations. I still plan on staying in the industry whether I work at IGN as an independent or find another outlet or agency to work with. So, thank you for listening.
I don't think IGN has a union. I mean, maybe, it's probably toothless like most of these unions are because clearly they don't care if they fired her. I don't know the story, so I can't really comment other than to say it wouldn't surprise me if either one of these guys were the bad guy. If she got approved for it and it turned out that once she started going down the road with it, IGN looked at it and said, this is bad for our business because they're saying things that piss off our advertisers and we have the right to push back, or maybe they're just a bunch of big fucking dicks. And she's like, go fuck yourselves. None of us know that. None of us have any fucking clue. What I would say though, and I've said this to Gene Park before, who's obviously a much bigger name than me and a bigger name than Stella. But the idea is, I remember this, this was 10 years ago, and I got so much shit for this. You can probably still find it on Internet Archive, Wayback Machine, whatever, where I proposed this idea because I was getting tired of all the sort of corporate video game journalists. And I said, wouldn't it be cool if we all kickstarted a fund? And this is right when Kickstarter was kind of really taking off. And I said, every journalist, for every $100,000 we raise with the Kickstarter, we all vote on which journalist gets it. That lets them go out into the world, be independent, make a good living, and they don't have to answer to anybody except basically, the audience in terms of if they get another 100,000, the next year, they keep getting to work in that space. And the game journalists just attacked me like a motherfucker. They were just like, you don't know what game journalists make. None of us make close to $100,000 fucking dollars. And I was like, guys, I know. That's why I'm saying maybe the best of you guys should make that kind of money. And obviously since then, a lot of things have happened. Kind of Funny happened. And then, of course, Colin's channel and Last Stand Media happened. And, the Min-Max guys are doing it. And it's becoming obvious that's the natural progression. So frankly, I don't know Stella. I don't know her work or anything about her. She's well after my time, so we've never interfaced or anything. But, I tell Gene all the time, and he, I get it. He wants to be at a proper newspaper and he wants to help turn the Washington Post around, blah, blah, blah. But so many of these people that are really talented, like Gene, perhaps like Stella, should really just say, fuck IGN, fuck outlets. You know, if they have the ability. Gene does, Stella may or may not, and just go fucking, you know, pull a Colin. That's what we're going to call it from now on. Pull a fucking Colin. What are you talking about? Why the fuck would you wait for someone to show up and tell you have worth? Your audience will tell you if you have worth or not. And and let's put it this way, if you're not able to build an audience without the interface and infrastructure of IGN, then you're probably not going to ever be safe at any outlet because they'll cut you in a heartbeat like they just did here. That's what I would say. But, you know, it always sucks to lose a job, especially close to the holidays. And hopefully she'll find a place that values her. Absolutely. Have you heard the rumors about the Steam console? I've heard the rumors about it, which is basically they're making another console that's probably going to be like the Switch, where it's a new version of the Steam Deck, and you can plug in. I mean, you can already kind of do that, right? You can plug it into your TV, but it's more powerful. Which I'd say I think that's great, but fundamentally, fundamentally, you really, you know, if they are able to do something to bring their what's the word I'm looking for? Their storefronts and their pricing and all that to people that are usually console folks, I think it would be great. But I don't know if they're not doing it now with the Steam Deck, what a more powerful one would necessarily do. But I mean, look, man, I think if there's so many people that are so unaware of so many great games, and if you are on Steam, you can't help but see them, and you can't help but see the great pricing of them. And I know that that's not going to turn the person who wants the bleeding edge graphics of PlayStation 6 into a fan. But I would be stunned if more and more people, if they became aware of these other games, didn't suddenly become huge fans. And in that, I think that would be fantastic. But yeah, like PK says, they've already done a Steam box before. Obviously, the Steam Deck has been very, very successful. It kind of is a Steam box because you can hook it to your TV. So I'm not entirely sure what it's going to take to why this one would be any more or less successful. But I love the Steam ecosystem. Fonzie says, honestly, I feel once people get into the Steam ecosystem and experience it, who are only on console, they're going to get hooked. Yeah, bud?
Should I feed Ace?
Yes, please. Thanks, bud. Do you have fun?
Yeah.
Okay. I totally agree with you. I mean, the ecosystem of Steam, and it helps if you have a keyboard, not for the games, but it's just so nice to have that. The community's better. You can build your own little group and curate games and say, here are my top 20 games of the year, and you can link to them all and you can chat. It's a better community. I have found. I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree with you, Fonzie. Okay. AIDIM says very soon we'll see some serious movement in the direction of turning PCs into consoles for the purpose of gaming. Perhaps. I mean, I think fundamentally it really does all come down to streaming. I mean, anybody who's really trying to make a box at this point that doesn't already have a big fucking toe in the water like Steam when it comes to it, I don't even see the point. I mean, you know, it's not going to be much longer. I think everybody, but I'm not going to pitch you on you know what I think about streaming. And eventually when it comes to you, you'll go, this is magic. How could I have ever lived without this? But for now, I know not everybody is in that world. So that's fair. Okay. What do you think about this? You know what I think about this? It relates to a couple of things. So Call of Duty, which is great. I've been playing a lot of it. This week I've been, neglectful because a bunch of new stuff is out. But they're getting hit really hard with the We Hate AI group. Almost all the actors in the zombie crew in Black Ops 6 Zombies have pulled out of working over lack of AI protections in their contracts. This is from someone called Ghost of Hope. This has resulted in some of the disappointing recasts we are now seeing early on, with some likely still to be recast in the future. I think from this is going to be really telling. You've got the biggest game franchise pretty much in the world. Maybe if you don't take it, I don't know. One of the biggest franchises in the world. How about that? And now we're going to really see how much your average consumer, not some kind of keyboard warrior on the internet who wants to talk about how much AI is terrible, really cares about their content being made by AI. because apparently this is the new zombies loading screen. They don't really know if it's AI. Some people say there's 6 fingers on the hand. Some people say it's not a finger, it's the curve. But regardless, it probably is. They've used AI before in Call of Duty. They clearly want to use it for voices. They're probably using it here. They're definitely using it here because you've got, this is clearly a hand. This is for zombies as well. The whatever they are, the gumballs or whatever they call them, which are really cool. I like the sound of them when you chew them or put them in your mouth. This guy has 6 fingers. Right. So none of this, I think Activision is like, look, this is pretty much just a bunch of vocal people. Nobody really gives a shit. And the fact of the matter is, I think nobody really gives a shit. If you're an artist or if you want to be an artist, sure. Then you got to figure out, is there a way for you to use this amazing new suite of tools to continue to express what only you can express, because the computer can't do that yet. But short of that, it's so weird to me. No, it's not weird. Well, it's so interesting. How about that to me, that on one hand, you've got all these gamers that bitch about games being too expensive. And then when the companies that make the games that you guys claim are too expensive and greedy show up and say, I know what we'll do. Let's find a cheaper way to do it. I don't know if they'll pass the cost on to you or not, but you can guarantee that if the costs go up, they'll pass that on to you. They may not pass the savings on to you, but they'll certainly pass the increase on to you. And then people complain about that. And then they say, okay, well, we'll tone down the graphics so we don't have to spend it. Well, we want the best graphics. We're getting to a point where gamers, a lot of gamers, not all gamers, of course, a lot of gamers understand, but a lot of the vocal gamers online seem to, it's like they expect to walk into a restaurant and get a free meal. And if they can't get a free meal, they get infuriated. It's like, it's a business. Look, if the audience walks away because they don't like this loading screen, okay, then lesson learned, Activision will stop doing it. But if in a game mode like Zombies, people really walk away because the voices of the characters no longer sound like the old actors, sure, then they'll bring them back. But you guys have heard me talk to AI online before. It's barely perceptible, if at all, that I'm talking to an AI. If you didn't know I was talking to an AI. Now with the conversational AI that ChatGPT has, I'm sorry, it's just not. I think we've reached the apex, says Bukaki, and have started diminishing returns when it comes to graphics. I don't think that's true. I don't think that'll ever be true. We will always want and get more and more realism and fidelity. I think it feels that way. But guess what? It felt that way 20 years ago. People were saying the same thing 20 years ago. JJD says, I stand with Colin and Chris. I'm anti-AI. Cool, then don't play these games. And I'm not saying you are, by the way. But my point, though, and my question for you, JJD, and my question would also be for Colin, and I think Colin would probably agree with me, that as much as you may morally stand against this, the average consumer doesn't care. The average consumer doesn't give a shit. They just want to play their games. And that's it. And they move on with their fucking lives. So that's what I would say. But, we'll see if Call of Duty suddenly falls off a cliff in sales and play. It's the number 1, number 2 game on PlayStation right now. When this news gets out there, we'll see what happens. But I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be a problem. But now this is interesting. And by the way, the whole show's not going to be AI, but all this news dropped at the same time. I don't know if you saw this. This is called Genie 2. Now, if you watch Genie 1, I'm going to show you this a little. We'll stop this as we go. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. But if you watch Genie 1, this was from Google, and Google just put out Genie 2. Genie 1 I'll show you what Genie 1 did. This is basically AI taking a big step towards helping us make video games. Okay. AID or ALD says if the average consumer didn't care, they'd be a lot happier about the San Andreas remaster. Those are very, very different things. I'm not saying the average consumer doesn't have a bar of quality that they want met, but what I'm saying is the average consumer probably doesn't give a shit that this hand has 6 fingers on it, Or if you really study the image in Santa, this hand may have 6 fingers on it. And frankly, it's not like they didn't have the people on staff to Photoshop it out. So maybe they'll just be more careful in the future. I don't know. But this is not San Andreas Remaster. This is just like a loading screen that you're probably looking at your phone while it's up. Nobody cares. Right. Bukaki says people only care about AI when the quality is obviously in question, which I think it's only in question here if you care about anatomy. But frankly, if you hadn't told me to look at the hand, I wouldn't have even noticed. It wouldn't have even hit my brain pan, is what I would say. Okay, I'm going to show you this for a moment, then I'll stop it. But I want to give you the background of this. This is really, really, really cool.
I am stunned. This is one of the most exciting research works I have seen in quite a while. We thought that this was impossible, but scientists at Google DeepMind wrote an AI called Genie that makes a game from scratch. Almost. You give it an input image and look at that. You can now play with it. The input can be a drawing or almost anything you want. But all that is nothing compared to what just happened. That was version 1 that only supported these silly little platformer games. But that was just 9 months ago. And now here is Genie version 2. What can this do? Look at that. In goes an image, even a real or made-up landscape, and out comes a much more sophisticated game. Wow! Now, we always say that the first law of papers says that research is a process. Do not look at where we are, look at where we will be 2 more papers down the line. And now we are 1 more paper down the line, so here is the moment of truth. And, by the way, by the end of the video, you will find that this AI is not really made because of video games. Not at all. I'll tell you about that too. So, let's take Genie 2 out for a spin and see what it can do through 10 amazing examples. And then we will also break it in unexpected and funny ways. You'll love it. Dear fellow scholars, this is 2-minute papers with Dr. Károly Zsolnai Fehér. 1. Do you remember Oasis AI? You know, creating a playable Minecraft world from scratch? That was amazing. But look away. And now look back. You're suddenly somewhere else. Why? Because it did not have long-term memory. This Genie 2 came out just a few weeks later, and look at that. Look away, look back. Yup, same scene. This one has longer-term memory. All this progress appears just a few weeks later. I can't believe this. Bravo! 2. This can create games with a variety of art styles and environments. So good. 3. You can control these characters with a keyboard, directional buttons, and jump too. And you get these lovely custom character animations. But you will see that there is more here. 4. Finally, these are actual 3D scenes you can navigate and play in. That's great news, because 5. You can even interact with these objects. You can open that door, shoot a barrel, or become a samurai. A really pixelated samurai, but a samurai nonetheless. And 6. NPCs, non-player characters, and interactions with them too, so you can get a sidekick or make a huge boss level for your players. I do not know what happened here. If you know, let me know in the comments below. And no, we are not going to forget about the 2-minute papers special. 7. Physics and smoke simulations. Wow! Yes, low resolution, but once again, just think about what we will be capable of 2 more papers down the line. By the way, gravity works too, so be careful out there, fellow scholars. 8. Look at that! Are you seeing what I am seeing? Lighting effects work really well, and so do reflections. Chef's kiss. So, with all this, 9. You can do really rapid prototyping. Go from an idea to game real quick. Should the game be about a paper airplane? Nope, it should be a hawk. Or, wait, a dragon it is. Or, just us. Anything goes. You don't have to invest a year and find out that the idea wasn't so good, because you can create all of these games super quickly. And now, hold on to your papers, fellow scholars, because all this was just for show. Because, ultimately, this whole thing is not about gaming. Yes, you heard it right. They built this AI not just to play video games, although that is quite nice with a Google DeepMind salary, I gotta say, but the real goal is to learn a world model. To be able to write a game, you have to understand how the world works, or even better, how a variety of different worlds with different rules work. And then, what do? Oh my, here is SEMA. Yes, finally, they did exactly what I was hoping they would do. They let their gaming AI play in this environment. We can instruct it to go up the stairs or go through the middle door. This will be fantastic because there are areas within AI that suffer from a lack of training data. Text is not one of them. Just read the internet. We also have lots of video data. There is YouTube and many other websites for that. However, what they don't give you is counterfactual information. That means what if situations that start from the same starting point, but then different scenarios play out. And yes, baby, that is exactly what this system can give us. A training environment that can give you, for all intents and purposes, unlimited data. This could be used to train robots or self-driving cars safely.
Okay, so that's the game stuff, right? And this probably makes sense because earlier last week in the stream, we talked about World Labs. You can actually play with this. I already showed it to you guys. Again, it's very new, but they put it out where you can actually sit here and you can play in this world barely. You can use a text prompt, or they used a text prompt, and it allowed you to move around the space, right? So they probably released this in order to kind of let people know, hey, it's not just World Labs out there. We're doing this shit too. I get that you guys, it's so crazy that some of you guys in the chat are mostly focusing on the guy's voice. And more importantly, there was an article that was written by a journalist that this was the headline. This is from Game Developer, from Chris Kerr, the news editor. He says, opinion piece, Google's latest AI innovation offers a putrid vision of game development. And I just, what I don't understand from a lot of people. Hello, poor man's poet, Gavin and Games. I don't know why you're laughing, but I'll take your money. Thank you, sir. Very kind of you. Thanks, bud. I don't understand because what he goes on to say is talking about how some of you guys are also saying that it's like, oh, it's sterile, it's soulless, it's this, it's that. Yes, I know his voice wasn't terrible. It's his second language or third or fourth language. Do you speak more than 2 languages? Jesus, what do I care? It's not the point. It's not the point. But anyway, yeah, he said it was putrid, is the headline of the article. It said that offers a putrid vision of game development and corporate as fuck. This is what I'm sorry, like JGD says, it'll be corporate as fuck. I don't understand how you guys are not seeing this. All this is like, think about this for a moment. All this is another tool, and it's a tool that tears down the gatekeeping of game creation. It would be like I saw, there's a show that Ricardo on the stream recommended me called The Great, about Catherine the Great being married to Peter of Russia, blah, blah, blah. And they got one of the first ever made printing presses. And suddenly they had all this power because they could actually print something and share it, right? It wasn't that suddenly people who had to communicate with their voices or by taking stamps and writing every single document with, or by hand or whatever. It was that it democratized and it lowered the gates of the gatekeeping of being able to express yourself with the written word to other people. This is the same thing. I mean, the idea that you or that somebody would only want people that have the ability and time to learn how to program or learn how to use a game engine to be able to express themselves interactively. I think that's the goofiest thing in the fucking world to me. Don't you want someone who you think is really creative? Like, I don't know much about who the big bands are or whatever, but just take your favorite musician. And let's say your favorite musician is like, I have this idea for this interactive experience. I don't want to learn to program. I've learned to play guitar or keyboard. I'm touring, but he could sit down or she could sit down at night with a microphone like this and talk to AI and go, hey, we're making this thing. We're creating this thing, just like you can now sit down with a piece of paper and a pencil and write the next great screenplay or novel or whatever. To me, when you say it's soulless, what's soulless about it? It's soulless right now because the effort is not being put into the art of it. The effort is just building the tools, right? But imagine if someone really creative got this now and said, okay, I want to make this game about my childhood, and my childhood was really normal, but this one weird thing happened, and I totally think it can make a great game. I mean, that's not what we're seeing. We're just kind of seeing the beginnings of the tool. It's like complaining that movies or storytelling sucks because one of the first movies that was ever shown was from the Lumiere brothers, and was it the Great Train Robbery or whatever, where the train came at the audience, and it was just like, oh my God. But that wasn't storytelling. It was just showing off the technology. I don't, Still Train says, why not talk with a team of people and be the director of a team? Why would you need a team? Why in the world would you want a team at that point? Why would you not want to sit with your AI partner and go, I mean, why would you get a team for this? Why not just, it's weird. Yeah, the AI bros aren't creative. That's not their job. I think it's really cool. I think it's cool. So let the musician work with someone who can do it, says Ald. Why? Why would you want that? Why would you want to add another step? And it's not just the step of finding those people, it's paying those people. It makes it much more expensive to create. Why would you want to leave those barriers up to prevent people who might want to express themselves with this art form from doing it? I don't understand that. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm saying that I would love for you to articulate the problem with that. It's only going to let people make slip though. I don't know what, slop though. What does that mean? Why would it only let you make slop? What's different about this than being able to, to take a phone and film it instead of having to get a Panavision camera? Okay. JJD, that doesn't do anything though. He says, learn to code with tools that don't undermine artist and coders' prior work, period. I can't believe I'm hearing this. Ha, 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 ha. I can't believe I'm hearing it from you. You are trying to defend. No one wants anyone to be jobless. I am an advocate for universal base income. I'm an advocate for tearing down a lot of capitalism and unregulated capitalism. That's a separate thing. But I'm talking about the art form being the gates that prevent other people from expressing themselves, being destroyed, demolished, so more people can do it. Yeah, anyone can make slop, says Still. Even today without AI, people make slop, right? It's not AI I worry about. It's how companies will use it as people are easily corrupted. Sure, but yes, but great. But that's a different conversation to have. I mean, ultimately, you're not going to prevent the companies from being as greedy as fuck the minute they can be as greedy as fuck. Here's how I know. Because, here's the Activision guys going, our audience doesn't really care about these specific voice actors. Not enough to matter. They don't care that this loading screen that no one's even going to look at has weird anatomy on Santa Claus. And you know what? Probably the same people that are playing Call of Duty right now seeing these are the same people that went on a performative tirade on the internet and said they hate AI, but they're still spending their money and time playing Call of Duty. Darth Nugget says, what the people in the chat room don't know is Jaffe already looked at the people who made his games as robots who take orders. Well, I didn't think they took orders, no, but I absolutely felt that they were contributors, but they were following a path that I was responsible for, whether it was my creation or someone else's. My job was to move it down the line and reach something the audience would care about. But this way, you don't even need me. That artist who's sitting at Santa Monica, who's like, fuck this game director. I could do better than him. I could do better than him. Cool. Now he can. Go do that. Go do that. As a member, I can't seem to chat. Can you fix it? Says Alex. You're chatting right now. I can't fix it right now. It may be that you have to also hit subscribe. Maybe you're not subscribed, but you're a member. Hit subscribe, see what happens. What we saw was just the beginning just now. It's not like they are passing it off as a finished product. It doesn't look worse than half the stuff on Roblox. Right. That's exactly right. Yes, you have to deal with people being put out of work. Yes, that is a separate thing. But that's not going anywhere. That's the world that we're in. And the difference here, at least, is that when McDonald's puts you out of work, your experience, it's not like, oh, thank God, more people now are able to serve you fries. They put you out of work, that job goes away forever. When AI comes in, they may put people out of work, like people they paid to do these screens. They don't need as many artists anymore. But it's at the expense of that, with the gift of more people can now create. Would I have used AI? Fuck yeah, I would have used AI. Absolutely. And I, even if I didn't believe in it, I would have been forced to use AI. Are you kidding? You think Sony's going to sit around and go, well, we could take $4 million off the budget because we could do a lot of these textures and stuff. I'll give you another example. When we were at Bartlett Jones, we never got around to getting it up because it was a pretty difficult program at the time to learn. There was a program called Picasso, right? And what you would do is it would basically texture and put the surfaces on your three-dimensional environments for you. You would need to go in and mess with it, but it would take a lot of the heavy lifting off of a human and do it on its own. Well, that's, for a long time, that was just someone's job. And you think Sony was going to go, well, we could save across all the people who do that $2 million, but we're not going to do that. Come on. What would I, it depends. Awesome says, what would I have used AI for? Dialogue? It depends on what I had. I didn't have AI at the time, but if you were to tell me, if I were to make God of War today and I had AI, I would use it personally from everything from creating the pitch document. Instead of spending thousands of dollars on concept art, I would basically have maybe hire a really good AI artist and say, let's work together to get what I want, and then do some Photoshop work for the pitch document. I probably would have pumped in a bunch of stories that I was thinking about and see if they could have fleshed out 3 or 4 that I really liked. And then instead of hiring as many writers as I did, I would have basically said, out of all these stories, these 2 are the ones I really like. Then I would have gone out to less writers and said, mess with these, right? So for me, it would have been an easier way to get to certain visions faster. But you know, if Ken Feldman, who was the art director, would have been able to say, you know, I can get AI to take my 5 textures that I'm doing for the Athens stone and then create 20 more in the space of like an hour or a minute, whatever it takes, instead of paying for that, I'm sure that Sony would have been a fan of that. You know, it's, you know, AI is not, nor should it solve outrageous spending on games. Says you don't spend the money. That's an executive problem. It's not, JJD. Listen, buddy, here's what JJD says. I'm going to give him this is why some people say, Jaffe, why are you always so mad? Because I have to put up with stuff, and it's just like this comment is just dumb. I'm sorry, JJD. It's a dumb comment. He says, AI is not, nor should it solve outrageous spending on games. Well, I don't think people who spend the money, who have the money, would agree with you, but let's move on. That's an executive problem. That's a greed problem. No one told these companies to scale beyond what's manageable. Sure, they did. The audience did. The audience shows up when you scale beyond what's manageable. And they show up with such great numbers that these companies, some fail, some succeed, have decided that they would rather take the risk and swing for the fences as often as they do, because if it pays off, it is a massive treasure trove of ducats. And that is the business model that they have chosen to embrace, because there's enough of an audience to allow it to sustain itself. So this idea that it's a greed problem, what do you think these companies are? That's what they do. They're not there to make your dick feel better. They're there to show up and make money for them and their stockholders. Where did you get this idea that that greed is not the main thing that drives these guys. Of course they do. Of course they do. It's a different thing. All these things you guys are bringing up that are moral issues and legal or should be legal issues, I agree with you 100%. ALD says another very important thing, the people whose art is used to train the AI must be compensated. I would love that to happen. I think it's ludicrous that is not currently being debated and even proposed in laws that says, look, if you're going to basically steal these people's work to make your work better, you fucking better compensate them. Or if we find out that you're doing that, you guys are going to basically owe these people any place we can find that their AI has marbled into your logic. You're paying them a couple of pennies. And that over the course of how many times J. Scott Campbell's work has been used to teach people how to draw Spider-Man on the internet, he'll probably be richer than Elon Musk. I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. But that's a different point. That's an absolute different point. GTA 6 is a great example, says 1 minute. How many normies cried it looked so ugly when the leaks came out? Yeah, you got to let it cook, right? They didn't even want to do that. It's like, it was a leak. It's like Wolverine. It's not ready to show you. It would be the equivalent of going into a kitchen of the world's greatest chef and putting your finger in, you know, the dough. He's making a cake and he's barely started. You're like, it's not good. I don't like it. It's like, yeah, it's not done yet. There may be Nugget. He says, I thought there were already legal things happening that's gotten the AI art companies to hire artists. Some companies have done that. Like I think Adobe does that, but I don't think they all do it. No. And I don't think it's legal. I don't think there's been legislation that says you have to do it this way. No, that has not occurred. And you know, you've got a lot of these lobbyists making relatively valid points to the government, which is like, I saw Mark Cuban talk about this and he said, well, here's the problem. The problem is, yeah, we can legislate AI to the moon and back, and maybe it'll be fair for some artists here and there, but fundamentally that legislation is going to hit all of our AI research. And in doing so, it's going to put us behind China. And in being put behind China, we're going to be in a lot of trouble because the person who really controls the AI controls everything. Because we've already seen things like the bots online and social media and maybe what's happening with the drones all over America and England right now. You know, there's a lot of this fucking shit that if we regulate it too much, we're going to lose the AI arms race. And that may not be good. That may not be good. Movie Maniac, thank you, buddy. He has stepped up and enjoying the diet soda soldiers again. Thank you, buddy. He says, I disagree with you about AI, but I respect you and enjoy your spunk. Thanks, pal. I appreciate it, you spunky funk. Funky fuck. Look, what's there to disagree about, though? I mean, fundamentally, are you telling me you would want to deny the ability, assuming that people would be treated fairly? That's a different conversation. But are you telling me that you would want to deny someone who let me show you something. Maybe this will change your mind or maybe it won't, right? But this is, I follow on Twitter sometimes. It's like, you know, people are always updating their games and talking about, oh, my game's not out yet, but it's like, you know, turn-based Thursday, screenshot Saturday, whatever, right? Here's what you have to understand where game making is right now if you are an indie game maker or a small game maker, right? The stuff that they care about, that they have no choice but to care about, is so ridiculously not interesting to the audience unless you are a fellow developer, that imagine the number of people that could be working in this industry or could be creating in this art form, but haven't been able to because this isn't where their mind goes, right? So look at this. This is a game, looks totally fine. I'm not knocking the game, called Space My Friend, I think. He says, I've been working on these visibility lines. He's excited, exclamation point. They get brighter as you get close to walls, right? That could have been one guy's Friday. His entire Friday was getting it so that when your character gets closer to a wall, the lights get a little brighter. What a ridiculous waste of time. Not for him and not for this game and not for 2024 December, But the idea that in a year, or even now, because I can ask ChatGPT to do certain things, but certainly not at the level that this guy has programming talent. The fact that I can ask ChatGPT if I'm playing, I'm like, hey, you know what? The players keep telling me they're having this problem. Or you've watched people, I went to bed and I woke up and I got a bunch of data from you because I put the game on Steam, and out of all the people who played it, this is the AI's analysis of people started quitting at these moments. Okay, well, why AI are people quitting at those moments, do you think? Oh, it's because when they move close to a wall, they seem to be confused where the path is. Okay, how can I solve that? Here's 10 ideas. Oh, I like the one about the red lines appearing when you get close to walls. Okay, let me go off and spend my entire Friday coding that. Or, hey, ChatGPT, make it so when I get close to a wall, it goes red. And then resend this out to Steam, update it, and get back to me if that has prevented people from dropping out where they were dropping out last night. Now, you're going to say that that is not a better use of a game creator's time than spending all day and going, look, I've been working on visibility lines. They get brighter as you get close to walls. What? Why? This is not, that's a ridiculous thing to say you want to, you probably asked this programmer. You think he wants to do that? It's kind of part of the slog you got to deal with. Retro says, interesting step in democratizing game development. Going to create issues, but what new tech doesn't. Right. Curious to see what left field creative directions non-programming outsiders might come up with. 100%. 100%. I agree. And if you want to be a purist, Matthew, and you want to code everything by hand, that's great. But that's not the world. Most people aren't really, interested in that, right? I didn't say coding wasn't a creative process. And I'm sure if you enjoy it, go with God, enjoy it. But when it comes to making video games, just like bookbinding, I'm sure is a very creative, wonderful process for people who love it, just like making candles is. But ALD says it democratizes lack of talent. What kind of talent are you talking about? Do you really think the brain that wants to sit there and figure out how to make the game work when you get close to a red line is the same brain that's going to come up with, hey, I figured out a way to interactively represent the metaphor of alcoholism? I don't think so. I'm not saying it's not possible. There are times when a brain is able to do both, but more often than not, people are either, the entertainers, the creators, or they're the technologists. Sometimes you can be both, but not a lot. Not a lot. It's not inherent. Embers Arcade, you say things, and if someone is already in your camp, they will applaud what you say, but you choose not to offer any kind of real intelligence or specifics. He says, one moment. He says, what do you mean why? Because it's a craft. It's inherent to the creative process. No, it's not. No more than taking a stamp with the letter K, and if you want to write the word kill in your novel, you have to know exactly, how to lay that out and lay the book out with actually using stamps, because now we have word processors. How can you sit there as a human and advocate against human creativity? The very thing I'm advocating for is human creativity. I'm saying that what you're doing is allowing more humans to express themselves in an art form that up until now has been limited only to people who are capable of learning, either because financially they have the time or intellectually, brain-wise, they have the ability to actually learn to program. That's kind of ridiculous. I mean, there was a time where the only way I could be communicating with you like this was if I went to a fucking television station and somehow convinced them that I need to be on TV. And the only way you could engage with me was that you would have to write a fan letter or a hate mail letter. But what, this is taking away from something? Are you so afraid of meritocracy that you'd see humanity? What, dude, shut up. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, Ember. I have literally, Ember, you fucking moron that was educated with a can of Coke and a pickle. I literally not 5 minutes ago said that the ability to make games using artificial intelligence, the better it gets, could allow people who would never have the ability to program to go, you know what? I have actually, because now I can use these tools, I have figured out a way to make a video game where not just the story and the cutscenes, but the literal metaphorical aspect of alcoholism and being the child of an alcoholic can somehow be represented through play mechanics in a way that we've never seen with other art forms, because you actually get to experience an aspect of what that might feel like. And you have the gall, after hearing me say that, to say that I want to remove the humanity and the creativity altogether. I'm championing it, you moron. Okay. I don't operate under the assumption that humanity's expression has been limited until the onset of AI. I operate that any tool that comes along that allows people to express themselves easier and better gets us closer and closer to more and more people being able to express it. You seem to be advocating gatekeeping in terms of who is able to express their visions, is what I would say, sir. Movie Maniac says Guillermo del Toro says AI has demonstrated it can do semi-compelling screensavers. That's essentially that. What are your thoughts on this? Maybe he's right at the moment, but it's, again, use the fucking tools. Maybe he's not the guy to use the tools, but I've never seen anything AI's done where I'm like, you know what? No one's going to be capable of using that as a tool. It's just the most ridiculous concept. PK says Jaffe wants to fire Bukkake, replace him with an AI. I sure as fuck don't want to do that, but I'll tell you what I would like to do with AI, and hopefully sooner than later. Because AI can already look at this chat. I think YouTube's already doing this. And if you log into this chat, I think at times, maybe it's not on my channel yet, it'll say, hey, here's what the chat is currently talking about. So AI could go through this and go, these are the bots I predict. These are trolls. Don't address them if you don't want to address trolls. Here's 5 comments that I was able to pull because the chat's going fast enough and you're not able to read all of it, that I think could lead to more engaging discussions. I think that would be fantastic. I think that would be fucking fantastic. Ember says, why are you so angry at the slightest scrutiny of your worldview? I'm not angry at the scrutiny of my worldview. I'm angry that I have to share this chat and this space with people that are so incapable of having an actual real conversation and discussion. You're not saying anything. All you're saying is kind of veiled insults about how what I'm saying is dumb and wrong. And when I ask you to give me proof of it, you don't offer it. You just ask more stupid, condescending questions. Okay. Jaffe says, Stiltron, do you think the book publishing market is better thanks to AI? It's getting flooded with things that don't have creative intent to put, where did it go? To put enough slop in just a week. Well, no, I think what you just described sounds awful, but so what? Don't buy those. Don't read those. It doesn't mean books are in a bad state. It doesn't mean that you can't, trust me. A lot of authors go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm working on this story about XYZ. I'm trying to figure out what should happen here to spin us into Act 3. Here's a couple ideas I have. Here's the vibe I want. Let's brainstorm some ideas. And they get good stuff out of it. Not because there's no humanity, but because it's like, ooh, that triggered a thought. Let me go run with that. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. I'm working on an issue in Unreal Engine Fortnite right now, says Michael Struckman. It's taking me multiple days. I've asked ChatGPT a few times for help. It's been more helpful than a Google search. Right. He's a fucking programmer. What's the problem, fellas? What's the problem? Okay. Okay, cool, Ember, no problem. I see you on the chat all the time. Then just don't come back. I don't care, man. I don't have time for it. I have time for it. It's fun for me. But he says, I don't think you're the mental heavyweight you think you are. I don't think I'm a mental heavyweight. That's how little I value your mental capacity, that I think you're, compared to me, not delivering the goods. And I don't think I'm a mental heavyweight. This is more of a statement about your inaccuracy or inabilities than mine. Okay. 2D Realm says he brings up a good point. With the democratization of Unreal Engine, we get lots of slop. This will only get worse with AI. But you don't get lots of slop unless you go play. I mean, how many people are actually out there spending money and time on slop? You might download something and go, oh, I don't like it, and you move on. But Indiana Jones is out right now. While We Wait Here is out right now. Mouthwashing is out right now. Balatro is out right now. I mean, I could go on up and down the budgetary spectrum. You know, there's always going to be slop. Look at YouTube. How much crap is on YouTube, including maybe this show, but some people choose to watch it, and I appreciate it. You know, but I mean, you know, sorry you have to maybe, you know, think a little harder about what you want to consume. But, you know, I'm sure AI or somebody's going to come take care of that as well. Right. Thirsty Wrath says, well, if you do get slop, don't buy it. Yeah. Okay. Let's move forward, shall we? Speaking of, you goddamn right, Bukaki. Yeah, I mean, I love that game. I love the Fast and the Furious Crossroads video game. We already have enough content to choose from, says Zack. Says you. Then don't buy. I mean, what, you want to just you want to say there's only a limited number of video games that you get to make? And then after that, well, gates closed for the next 2 years. What are you talking about? I'm talking about waiting through slop to find gems is annoying and time consuming, says Cosmic Mendito. How often do you actually do it? I mean, I enjoy going through a lot of games to see what's neat and interesting and different, even if it's not the world's best game. But a lot of you guys have made it clear in the chat that you only want AAA, you only want the best, you only want, and that shit gets marketed and put right in front of you. Jaffe, have you seen the rigging animation AI? From what I've read, people that used it could cut times more than 2/3, saving money on busy work. Great. I haven't seen it, but yeah. And that's going to put riggers out of work or force riggers to go into other lines in the game development community. But if you don't know what this is, when you build a 3D model, it's not done. Someone has to go into that 3D model and actually give it bones so it can then animate and move, and that the code can recognize the points of the skeleton and go, okay, when the player hits this button, a number of things happen, including this animation plays, which moves these particular bones or these particular joints. Right. Right. Darth Nugget says these people have no vision. I agree with you, buddy. He says, I don't care what slop made by average dumbasses who get their hands on AI. I do care what Ken Levine or Kojima could do. Imagine, let's say you love Kojima or Miyazaki. Take your favorite game creator. And instead of having to go and hustle for money and answer to publishers and all the shit that you guys say you hate and that's ruining gaming, or imagine someone who doesn't like all the woke stuff like some of you guys. Okay, cool. Then you know what? They can sit there, the anti-woke Kojima can sit there and go, I'm going to take 6 months, I'm going to work with AI, and I'm going to create the perfect Kojima joint. No other views, no other contrarians. It's going to be exactly what's in my brain. Cool. What's the problem? It may not be good. It may just be one long cutscene. But, still, you know what I'm saying. Have I played Fear and Hunger 1 and 2? No, but I will look into those. Thank you. Could you, I'll try to remember. I don't have my Alexa turned on. That sounds great. You could get AI to take out the woke stuff, depending. Yeah, depending. It depends on, what game you're playing and if the code allows that, but absolutely. I mean, fundamentally, that's probably, it sucks unless you're playing an indie game where it's like, look, this is about the artist's vision. But if you could, I'm sure, you think Ubisoft, if they could I don't even know why games that cost over 50 million don't automatically have a character creator. And it's like, look, if you want to make the hottest, sexiest version of K-Vass in the world, go do that. Because then it would limit a bunch of people bitching about all kinds of things. Does the samurai, as much as I think the story of the first Black Samurai is kind of interesting, I don't know much about it. So I'm like, oh, cool, I'll do that. If you're Ubisoft, just fuck it. It's a samurai. Make your own. Make your fucking own samurai. Make your own ninja. Nobody cares. Or we'll make our version, says the team, says the writer, says the artist. But if you don't like it, just change it. Go do that. Nobody cares. That's cool. I think Kay Vess is cute too, Benjamin. I like her a great deal. She's one of my favorite characters this year. But, you know, people are like, yeah, she's ugly. Okay. I guess she's ugly then. Listen to this, though. You think this is controversial. You think this is controversial. This has pissed off certain people, but I think it's a good list, but I don't think it's the normal list. I get that this list is kind of out there. This is Time Magazine's top 10 games of 2024. And a lot of people will disagree with it, and I think that's what's fun about these lists, right? But I was surprised by how much I did agree with it, right? Okay. The top 10 best video games of 2024. Ryan, I will do my best to get him in tonight. I have this AI thing called Taja AI, and it's been down the last few days. When you go to the webpage, it freaks out, and I got to figure out what's going on. I think I did fix it. I think it was my graphics card, because I wasn't able to run Marvel Rivals either, but now I can. Okay. Here we go. This is their top 10 games of the year. Number 10 is Helldivers 2. Pretty good. That's not a bad start off to this list. That should be in there. Number 10, Helldivers 2. Okay. Number 9 is Lego Horizon Adventures. Well, I haven't played it. I heard it was just kind of but okay, that's a surprise. Didn't expect to see that on there. Number 9, Lego Horizon Adventures. Yeah, but Time Magazine, what's the number 8 game of 2024? That's what I would like to know. I would like to know that. No problem, pal. Star Wars Outlaws. What? What? Absolutely. I loved this game. It's in my top 5. Here's what I thought was great they wrote. I think they wrote it here. Maybe they wrote it somewhere else. I'll read to you. But Polygon did a similar list, and it wasn't as high, but it was in their top 50. And but they have it at number 8. Number 7, Black Myth Wukong. I guess that fucks you guys up, right? People like, oh, it's a paid for list, says Real Boss Moss. I guess, right? So I guess this was paid for too. It's garbage list. Number 7, Black Myth Wukong. That's fair. A little too hard for me to really appreciate it, but I played 2 worlds of it, biomes, whatever, and I really enjoyed it. Black Myth Wukong. Number 6, Alan Wake Night Springs and the Lake House. I guess those are both of their expansions for last year's Alan Wake 2. Number 6. Okay, still paid for, I guess. Number 5 is Neva, which I did buy, but I haven't played it yet, but I did buy it because it got so many nominations. I'm like, let me check out what this is about. It's very beautiful visually. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy the game or not, but Neva is number 5. Number 4, Silent Hill 2, one of my favorite games of the year. Agree. I would say that's in my top 3 or 4 of the entire year. Just absolutely excellent. Number 4. Number 3, top game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Okay, well, I guess this is all paid for, though, right? You know. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is number 3. Coming in at number 2, top game of the year, Astrobot. The number 1 game of the year, according to Time Magazine, is Dragon Age the Veilguard. I don't know what to tell you. I love it. Is it my favorite game of the year? Maybe, maybe not, but it's in the top 3, easily in the top 3, or certainly the top 4. But that's their number 1 game. If you go over to Polygon, I'm not going to read you this whole list because it's massive, but they did a top 50. What I will tell you, and I'll put it in the chat if you're interested in going over there at some point, because what I will say is great about the Polygon list, whatever you may think of Polygon, is these guys play a lot of fucking video games, and they don't just play the big expensive shit that you've heard about. They play, and I've heard about these because I play tons, and I play super cheap games and shit like that. But everything that's worth talking about is in this list, and I love that about this list. I'm not going to go through all of it. I'll just stop on the ones you can see on your screen. But, you know, I think, like, thank goodness you're here. Do I think that's one of the top 10 games of the year? No. But the fact that this doesn't have a writing nomination for best writing for Keeley's Awards is ridiculous. This is probably the funniest fucking video game ever fucking made. And at least Polygon put it on their fucking list. Let's see. I want to show you Unicorn Overlord should be on more list, in my opinion, but it's subjective, of course. Hello, Zanark. Crimson Diamond, I hear, is great. I'm Your Beast should certainly be on best design list. This is what I'm saying. I care about the medium. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this do too. But, you know, we should all call out certain awards for what they are, which is a joke, if they're not really digging into the world of interesting video games when they're talking about narrative and design. Because I Am Your Beast may not be your favorite game of the year, but to say that this isn't as compelling at a design level as some games that have been nominated, either at Keighley Show or DICE that will be or whatever, ridiculous. Ridiculous. Star Wars Outlaws, here's what they said that I thought was, they expressed it better than I did. It says, Star Wars Outlaws is great as a game, but it's better as a Star Wars theme park. Setting aside the solid, if controversial, stealth RPG gameplay, especially with the update, Star Wars Outlaws absolutely nails the Star Wars vibe. With a tactility, is that a word? Tactility? I thought it was tacticality. But anyway, with the tactical aspect on display that goes beyond mere Lucasfilm set design and sound effects. And I agree with that. That's why people have said, oh, you think it's better than the Star Wars Fallen Jedi or Fallen Order, whatever it's called. No, I think those are better games. But I think this is a better Star Wars simulator. You play this and it feels like you're living in the Star Wars world. Absolutely. Indiana Jones is not snubbed. It's just, it came out too late. But that's another reason you shouldn't really be doing these awards until January. But I don't agree, PK. PK says Keighley's joke has been a joke since, Keighley's show has been a joke since 2018. I don't agree with that. I think it's a really fun show. But I think all of the three major award shows are four of them, if you count the Golden Joysticks, are stupid in terms of the award aspect of it. Really, really dumb. Indica is a great fucking game. The fact that it's even on their list says that you should at least throw a little respect towards Polygon. You know, come on. I mean, this game is crazy and cool and unique and different, and no one's really talking about it. What else do we got? This was pretty good. I haven't played much of it, but I liked it. It was a kind of a boomer shooter. It was this year's, it was very similar to a game last year. That was like a boomer shooter, but this Sulaco is up there. Warhammer is up there. Arco, which I still haven't played, but everybody who plays it says it's fucking amazing, this game. I will play it. Tekken 8 is up there. Let's get to the 25. So number 25 is the new Zelda, which was really good. 10,000 Times Resist. I only played the demo. It was very cool. Again, my guess, I could be wrong. Most people haven't heard of 10,000 Times Resist. And if you have, you haven't played it. I haven't even played the final. I've just played the demo, and it was really interesting. And again, it's not that I think that there shouldn't be game awards for the big games. And it's not that I think that someone is less of a gamer if they aren't playing everything and anything. People are busy, and things cost money, and blah, blah, blah. But I do take a little bit of issue when people, Angerfoot as well, Mutant Mo, when people do act as if that don't have any information on some of these games that are just amazing and interesting and compelling, that that their opinion, I guess, is as marbled and varied and nuanced as people who are aware of the whole spectrum of the art form of the year. That pisses me off a little bit. But it's the same. It's the culture we live in where everyone's an expert. We had a show the other night, and we're not going to get into politics on this show, but we were talking about the trans issues and stuff. And I literally had my son who's trans, and we had a medical doctor on. And some of the people in the chat still thought they knew more. You had a guy who's walked in the shoes of a trans man, and a guy who is a fucking doctor who spent 10 years learning to be a doctor and another 8 years being whatever they call doctors, interns or whatever, before they actually became a practicing doctor. But no, somebody who heard something on a podcast knew more. It's kind of annoying to me. But, it's nothing. It's not illegal. There's no law against being annoyed. Silent Hill 2, great fucking game. I think it's a little too low on their list. I haven't played this one. Destiny, Neva is number 20. Like a Dragon, that's good to see up there. This was a real... Colin Moriarty was telling me how much he loved this game. I only played the demo from Capcom and I liked it, but I need to go back and spend some time. Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, pretty fucking cool from what I played. Dragon Age, the Veilguard, they don't have as number 1, but they do have as in the top 20. But if you listen to some people, it's not even worth being, existing. It's so terrible. Which, unless you come at it because you are pissed that it's not traditional Dragon Age, that I get. I absolutely get that criticism. Pacific Drive up there. Fields of Mystria, never even heard of that one. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. I'm surprised I haven't played this one yet. That's number 14. Hades 2, Early Access 13. 12, Prince Persia, The Lost Crown. Some of you guys were going, where's that? Well, there you go. 11, the new DLC for Elden Ring, Erdtree, Shadow of the Erdtree, which I still need to play. Rise of the Golden Idol, which is the sequel to, I think it's the sequel to the Case of the Golden Idol. I hear it's excellent. Final Fantasy Rebirth, top 10. Dragon's Dogma 2, which I loved, but it got boring, number 8. Number 7, UFO 50. Number 6, Animal Well. Number 5, Tactical Breach Wizards. I've only played the demo. It's very cool, and it's very cool to see this in the top 10. Helldivers 2, number 4. Number 3, Metaphor ReFantasio, which makes sense. Number 2, Astrobot. And number 1 is Balatro. So, imagine some of these fucking games. I don't know. We already talked about AI. All right. What else we got? You know what? That's all we got. We're going to wrap the show. I'll go to the chat. I'll talk to you guys a little bit, but that's all the news I've got. I do want to tell you one thing that you may not know about. I was surprised. So this month, as you may be aware of, if you are an Amazon Prime member, they give games every month. And this month they're giving away a lot of really good games. Dredge is in there, the first Space Marine, Mega Man 11, the first 2 Baldur's Gates, Outer Worlds. I think there's something like 20 games they're giving away, right? But here's what I didn't know. There's a Lara Croft collection, Bounty Hunters, Dredge, blah, blah, blah. So if you're Amazon Prime, don't not be paying attention to this. But what I didn't realize, though, was that Luna, which is a great cloud streaming service, I don't think it's as good as GeForce, but it's better than Microsoft's cloud streaming. If you have Amazon Prime, a lot of the games that you get for free every month, a lot of those will also be on Luna and they'll be for free. So if you have a TV that can get Luna, either with a Fire Stick or a smart TV or just your monitor, but maybe you don't have a computer that can run one of these or whatever. Or I didn't know this, Luna is on PlayStation 5. So you can actually get Luna streaming to PlayStation 5, which means if you get, not all, you got to check which ones, but like Dredge is one of them, but there, let's say you get Dredge, but you don't have a PC and you don't want to buy it, but it's free and you only have a PS5, go to PS5, download Luna and play it from the cloud. And you've spent nothing because Luna doesn't cost you any money. It's not like you have to have PS Plus. I don't believe. Yeah, PK says you can play Luna on your phone if you want. It works good. I would not recommend playing Dredge on your phone because there's lots of little text that you have to read in terms of menus. But sure, yeah, I mean, a lot of these you can play like that. Absolutely. I was surprised. I didn't think it was, and I haven't verified it, Anthony, right? But if you type is Luna on PS5, it says it is. It says it's not a bad service. Oh, it's $5 a month, but you still probably get it. Okay. So Amazon Luna's on PS5, but some features available on PS4 may not be included. So what I don't know is so if you pay $5 a month, there's a bunch of games that you can get, but there's also free games every month if you're an Amazon Prime member. And some of those games that you get are on Luna, right? So it depends on what games you're talking about. But yes, you can get Luna, it says, on PS5. By the way, Death Stranding, the director's cut, is on Luna right now. It won't cost you a dime because it's free if you have Amazon Prime. Quote, free, whatever. So just I wanted to make you aware of that because, why not, man? Why not play some fucking games that you've been wanting to play, but maybe your computer couldn't handle it, or you didn't want to spend the money, but now you're off to the fucking races. So be aware. Okay, I'm going to go to the chat. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about as it relates to video games. And then we will part ways, and I'll be back tomorrow morning with the Jaffe stream, where we're going to be talking about probably no politics, but all kinds of stuff, freewheel and chat. And then in the afternoon, we'll be back with another Gavin and Games. Let me adjust my screen so I can see your chat, and we'll go from there. How are the games, quote, free if you're paying a subscription? Yes, I know. Nothing is free for the most part. I get it. But they are psychologically free. Come on, God, really? I mean, is this the combat you want to have with me? No one's walking around thinking they're actually free. I get it. You have to spend money to get the subscription. We get it. But most people, that's the whole business model psychologically behind a subscription, is once you get a subscription, a lot of people forget about it, and it feels free. It's not, but for $5 a month, for a lot of people, it may as well be. It's less than a goddamn cup of coffee. Sadly, it's bizarre that a cup of coffee costs $6, but there we are. Oh yeah, Film Gamer, the opening of Indie. The opening of Indie is not as good at a gameplay level as the actual rest of Indie. The opening of Indie, if you are a fan, is batshit delightful. But it's the rest of the game is not that like scripted. But the ending, I get. The ending I get. The opening, I get the value of opening it with that, is what I'm saying, kind of to introduce you to it. Sorry, I was reading the chat. Okay. Where did it go? I was going to respond to someone. I lost it. Oh, well. Do I still enjoy streaming, and how long could you see yourself doing it for, says Zack? I love streaming. One of the reasons, certainly not the only reason, that I like to do the Jaffe stream is I can't imagine, again, I don't know what's going to happen with gaming, right? My feeling with video games is that more and more people who are getting older are continuing to play and not just Candy Crush. And in that, I'd like to think there is a group of an audience that likes to talk gaming with me that I can grow with, and they can travel with me as they get older and I get older. But I'm never going to be the guy that's talking to the 20-somethings, other than like either ironically, or they want to troll, or they want to fight. I mean, maybe you will. But that's just, they go to the people who are more their generation and shit like that. And so I like having the other stream where I can talk about things that are more evergreen, that age doesn't really factor into it. So yeah, I would love to do it. I would love to be able to do it and it be sustainable, that I never have to do anything else. It is the favorite job I've ever had. It is delightful. I'm trying to get better. I'm looking at bringing somebody on to work with me, because I take bait too easily, and I like to fight a lot. Like, I like to debate a lot. You may have noticed this. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's valuable, and sometimes that's lucrative. And sometimes it pushes people away, and it becomes very similar and samey. And so people are like, oh, I'm kind of done with that guy. So I'm not, that's one of the biggest weaknesses I have, I feel, is what I would say. Jaffe, do you think that being subscribed to these Game Pass subs should afford you a discount when purchasing? It does. At least it has. If you are a member of PS Plus and you are a member of Game Pass and you buy a game, there is a discount. I think it's like 15%. I think it might depend on the game, but I do not work in the game industry right now. I would prefer to never go back. I mean, that's not true. It depends on the situation. It depends on the situation, but right now though, yeah, I love doing this, but no, I think maybe what it is because it's too, what's the word? It's too, like, it's so hard to get a project off the ground. It's so expensive that half your time, if not more, is spent building a company or getting financing, or, it's just not what it was back in the day, you know, where I had a lot of freedom, and I'm not interested in if I don't have a lot of freedom. So Stalker is great. Yeah, I haven't read the book, but I do like Stalker very, very, very much. I remember you saying Twisted Metal Season 2 was done filming. Yes. You want to ask an opinion on things or ask about select character lore? Not now. I can do a Twisted Metal centric stream if people are interested, but I'm at the end of a show like this, I'm so fried that I'm not going to be able to give you a good answer to your question. So if you're like, Jaffe, what happened when Mr. Grimm did that? I'd be like, dude, not because I don't care and not because I don't think it's a good question, but because it's like, that's a level of focus and going back in time that I have to think through, is what I would say. The indie game is receiving positive reviews, says Art of Interactive. You goddamn right. It's great. I love it. I'm having a great time. Yes, just use AI to make a game for you. Change the word for to the word with Embers Arcade, and you would be right. You would be absolutely right. Somebody wrote, where did that go? Am I inviting Gaz and Gene for the Game Award show? I talked to Gene. Gene said yes. I haven't really reconnected with him. I'm trying to decide the best way to do that show. I don't know. Part of me just wants to do it just with members. Like, hey, this is what members do each year. We just watch together and we meet in the Discord so we can all talk and all shoot the shit and all that, and not really make it a show for anyone other than like, it's like that. Or maybe I will stream it by myself or stream it with Gene and I haven't decided. I probably will ask the chat tomorrow and just kind of get a sense of what you guys want, and see. Okay. Oh yeah. Somebody was saying, well, yeah, Jaffe, you like streaming. Yeah. Matthew says you love it, but it's your show. Well, yeah, why would I stream someone else's show? But I will say I like going on other people's shows when they ask me. Like, I love going on the Last Stand Media shows. I love going on Gaz's show. I love to talk games wherever I am. But certainly I would lie if I said part of the appeal wasn't, it was my own show that I can do whatever I want. That's not a problem, you know? If you were able to make a game with all the financial freedom, what would you make? I would probably make a horror-based walking simulator about... I know exactly what it is. I've already written the story. I have a lot of it worked out. I'm trying to think how I could pitch it without... Because it's really meant to be... If it ever gets made, it twists and turns all over the place. So Anthony says Luna is not on PS5 that I can find. Well, yeah, I'll do a little more research before the next show. I'm just going off what Google said. It may not be, but Google was saying it was. An aspect of, let's just say this, an aspect of it is about a father who's a conspiracy theorist who has a child and raises his child with the express intent of making him the president of the United States so he can actually finally get to the bottom of a bunch of these conspiracies. That's not what the game is about, but that's sort of one of the key protagonists of the game. That's sort of a very big, broad painted stroke version of his backstory. But it's very much about conspiracy theories and politics and assassins, and it's a very kind of, you know, thing like that, I guess is what I would say. So I would like to do that, but that would be my dream game to make at this point. It's not Alex Jones, no. I mean, not at all. Fuck you, blah, blah, blah. You know, get in here and you talk for hours at a time all day long, and you see if you don't use trapeze words, you fucking son of a bitch. Greatest game of all time, it says Atar. It's thank you, RPG. It's it's an impossible question because it depends on how you define greatest game of all time. So comfort food game of all time, probably Hearthstone. Narrative based game of all time for me, probably Starfield. Social video game of all time, maybe Song Pop Party. arcade 80s game, probably Gyrus or Time Pilot, made by the same guy, by the way. So it's there is no, you know, when you're talking about an art form, it really, I think you have to put it in at least one meta bucket to say what do you want out of the art form in the definition of greatest would be my answer. So it's hard to answer. Okay. Fellas, that's the show. That is Gabbing and Games for the 8th. I think it's the 8th of December. I will be back tomorrow with 2 shows. Elden Ring is my favorite game of all time too. Maybe holistically. I'll be back in the morning with the Jaffe stream. We're definitely talking all the orbs and all the drones over many, many places. There's a lot of interesting theories. Not all of them are aliens and UFOs. Some of them are fucking downright dangerous and scary, and if you believe in Occam's razor, which why wouldn't you, it's probably that. So we'll talk about that. There's some weird science stories going around. This one guy, they woke up and said he went to hell. It's weird. And we'll just kind of talk about whatever you guys want, politics, freak, a lot of call-ins, all that shit. That'll be happening tomorrow, probably 10:30, 11 o'clock at the latest. And then later in the afternoon, early evening, we'll do Gabbing and Games. And I'll be around on the Discord. Consider a membership. Consider a subscription. Consider liking and subscribing and turning on the notification bell, telling all your friends. If you like the show. If you don't like the show, either tell me what's bad about it in the Discord so I can make it better, or go fuck yourself. But I would prefer the former, not the latter. And that's the show, baby. Be well, be safe. Thank you, mods, very, very much. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, you guys.